good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are at when you listen to this video. We are here in Oklahoma. My name is Ingrid Lorna, and today I'm going to go further into the ugly truths of TV, part 2. So, another ugly truth of TV is that we get so involved with the characters, with these semi-fictional, totally fictional realities, that we follow the lives of TV personas with far more care and love than we follow the lives of our family, our loved ones, our community. Fiction and reality have lost their boundaries in our lives, and people who immerse themselves daily for many hours a day in the surrogate reality of television life deal on a daily basis with a reality that's unlike any that has ever preceded television. For example, when we watch TV news, we're presumably taking in real-world events, but yet it's not happening as we see it. It's already happened, and we're seeing the edited version of it. And we may not see images. We may only hear the anchorman or anchorwoman telling us about it. And in between times, it's interrupted with a commercial that's not filmed in the same place where the TV anchorman or anchorwoman is presenting to us from. And so you have this totally incongruent reality, incongruent event being presented to you in one image stream. Incongruency being presented to you in an image stream. That, as you're sitting in passiveness, as we talked about in the last one, gets into your subconscious without your participation. So then after the news, we may go on to watch a fictional dramatic program which uses real people playing scripted events in accelerated TV time, also interrupted by commercials. And then maybe we choose a docudrama, maybe like the one that shows that all fish life will be gone in the oceans, all ocean life will be gone by the year 2048, which is a fictional recreation of computer simulation. Has nothing to do with the real world. But there's enough reality in it that we have to accept both, that it's so intermingled we cannot discern anymore because the image streams are coming at such a fast rate of speed and from so many different sources. In other instances, we might watch the future, which is just really script. And if we buy into it, then that future will happen. But if we don't, we can create our own reality. So these descriptions don't even begin to scratch the surface of the numbers of categories of images that come and go every few minutes on television. So meanwhile, you're sitting at home in your room or your living room watching TV in passive mode, and all this imagery enters your subconscious without your vivid distinction or participation, without your saying no to it. So as the fictional presentations take on a kind of reality, so the real events in the whole world, including the political world, take on the characteristics of the fictional presentations. Wars, riots, international spying, electoral contests, the spread of COVID variants, all begin to be viewed as the latest exciting TV series, or in the case of electoral contests, sporting events. They come and go as frequently as sitcoms and drama shows and are just as dependent on the ratings. And so with each great tragedy or world crisis, we see it dominating the table, for a prescribed amount of time, and then it's put on the back burner and totally forgotten. Each projection of the great tragedy or world crisis fits nicely into the evening news format. It runs steadily for 2 to 8 weeks, depending on the subject and what their studies have ascertained your level of attention span is. Are you really okay with somebody else determining this for you? I'm not. So these shows all deal with real-world events, the evening news, but they come to us in a steady mixed stream of real and unreal and semi-real events that is everyday television. In our minds, these real news merge with everything else and just become another set of stored imagery that all have similar reality values. They enter and leave our lives with the accelerated rhythm of the rest of TV events, and we become engaged, enraged, entertained, involved, and then apathetic when the docudrama series is over. When the docudrama tells us that all ocean life will be over in our lifetime. So, God, that's just such a big problem. There's nothing we can do about it, right? We might as well just continue living our small little existence and let it happen. The reality is all you were doing was sitting in your bedroom, on your bed watching TV, or in your living room on your couch watching TV. So let's talk about our past television president, Ronald Reagan. His immense popularity was helped by this TV-induced confusion because he spent his adult life being an image, sometimes fictional, sometimes real, sometimes in the semi-reality of commercials, and then as an authoritative spokesperson for General Electric advertising. Because of this TV background, he handled TV as presidency with skill and power. He knew that simplicity, bold assertion, and the heavy use of symbolic content, with the appeal to formulate values deeply embedded in us by all the previous decades of programming, like good versus evil, America versus the enemy, Russia or China, revere the flag, were powerful tools over his TV viewers. George Bush was also schooled in these lessons very intimately. Reagan's most remarkable achievement was to incorporate in his own persona an amazing set of archetypes from the movies of the 1940s, 1950s, and more. In the very real role of president, Ronald Reagan recreated a set of images that had been reinforced by standard storylines since World War II. He was making real, which was previously just imagery held in the minds of people. How did he do this? Well, he would become the World War II hero, standing tall. He took on the admiral on the bridge of the ship, taking on the hated Nazis and Japanese, although they became the commies and the Iranians. He was the Western hero, slow to anger, but push him too far and he would become ferocious, fierce in his response. He was not Rambo, a contemporary unfeeling slaughterer, butcher. He had morals. He was John Wayne. He was Gary Cooper in High Noon. He was also the family man of the 1950s, affable, homey, a little bit sexy, and in love with his adoring wife. He was kindly. He was grandfatherly, with a few personality quirks. He didn't remember things so good. He pronounced some of them fancy French names wrong. But his fallibilities made us love him so much more. They gave him an unthreatening, comedic aspect, like Jimmy Stewart. But yet, on the other side of the coin, he was the authoritative spokesperson, the same one he used to be for General Electric. He believed in the technological dream that he was programmed for and was willing to sell it with all his might. He believed in the American technological version of the good life. And he believed that technology could achieve anything, and so he used all his power. He called MX missiles peacekeepers. Really? Peace for whom? He said that lowering taxes on the wealthy benefited the poor. Really? Have we seen that yet? And he unabashedly claimed that massive rearming was the way to disarm. Rearming who? Rearm America so that we can disarm other countries so we can just steamroll over them? A few years later, George Bush said the last best chance for peace was to declare war against Iraq. How do we gain peace when we declare war? Especially a war that ends up lasting 20 years. And then he followed that doublespeak up with the goal of war is peace. Really? How does that work? Does anybody still not see the incongruency in all this? the true doublespeak. They both knew and understand the Orwellian lesson in focusing public hatred on repeated images of an enemy that they choose to create. So the degree to which we have accepted such presidential behavior without rebellion and enthusiastically have supported Reagan, Bush, Obama, and Trump, Joe Biden, is the degree to do with George Orwell's predictions that have proven accurate because we were programmed to go this way through TV. And so TV's political importance has been truly realized. So let's talk about the late news and our latest video war. First, the war of COVID, and now the war in the Ukraine. As all other wars have been video wars, just like these. Throughout the massive barrage of military talk or COVID talk, there is no other viewpoint allowed. Any anti-war opinion gets limited to maybe an occasional 20-second shot of a peace march or someone being anti-vax, a tinfoil hat, a conspiracy theorist, without any presentation of what they actually have to say. There are many hours of interviews with military strategists and loving details of how SARS-CoV-2 can kill, but no interviews without anyone who could provide another perspective. Then the polls come in 100% for war or 100% for masking and shutdown and immunizations and we'll stop right there. Then TV really struts its stuff with the video images of the laser and radar guided missiles that strike targets with a precision made in heaven for TV. It brings viewers into the cockpit of the plane, into the lap of the Marine behind the video console and the M1 Abrams tank, or the soldier behind the video console and the Bradley fighting vehicle. So, of course, this so-called war footage we see is the kind of imagery we have been trained to accept and love from decades of playing video games. When Mr. Reagan said that video games were good for training bomber pilots and Bradley fighting vehicle operators and M1 Abrams tank operators, he failed to mention that the ultimate goal was training us to accept what they do and be part of it. These video games now even incorporate the blood spray, but they don't show the final outcome, the pain, the suffering, the true blood and guts. And so we've become psychically numb to all this carnage, and then we wonder at the heinous crimes committed on our streets. We're appalled by the acts of violence, and yet we participate in these acts of violence committed by civilians, our military, our police, without actually having to experience the acts themselves. We're thrilled and excited by the kill. One of the most frequently asked questions of homecoming soldiers is, did you get to kill someone? Yet we're numb to the death, the reality of the carnage that's involved with this programming. Finally, what's revealed most by TV's performance in wars, and all kinds of wars, SARS-CoV-2, masking wars, is its amazing efficiency when controlled by a central authority. We've been trained by corporations, by the people in corporations, and ultimately the military-industrial machine in a predetermined fashion. And are you okay with this? Because I'm not. I'm not okay with it anymore. I'm done. What's it going to take for the rest of my fellow humanity to be done with this, while minimizing anything alternative? Celebrations of high-tech war images ultimately serves corporate goals, making another symbiosis possible. TV technology is more efficient and more effective as an instrument of centralized control than it is for any other use. It encourages passivity, apathy, isolation, confusion, addiction, alienation, and it homogenizes and clones values by shutting down alternative visions. TV is uniquely suited to implant and continuously reinforce dominant ideologies, accelerating our nervous systems into a form that matches the technological reality that is upon us. Television has effectively produced a new form of human being, less creative, less able to make any subtle distinctions, but speedier and more interested in things, products produced by the corporate world, to the point where we're now called useless eaters, consumers. Are you okay with being called a consumer? I'm not. I am not a consumer. No. I say no. And this new TV person is better able to handle, appreciate the new technology world, the incoming flood of the metaverse or the multiverse. Diversity is a necessity for natural systems to survive. All you have to do is step outside, turn off the TV, step outside, go for a walk in the woods. Beware, take the damn earbuds out of your ears and be in the woods, listening, observing, noticing, and you'll see the diversity. Yeah, it's really, really rarely noted, on purpose, of course, that communications technology, TV, has the biggest role in destroying diversity in our human realm. With the ability to plant identical images into the minds of millions of people around the world, the script writers for TV are the humans in corporations, able to homogenize and clone perspectives, knowledge, tastes, and desires through the people and actors who transmit the images and words. The script writers, again, are the people inside the corporations whose ideal of life is technologically oriented, commodity-oriented, materialistic, and hostile to nature, and are little boys sitting behind a video screen playing video games. And you are their pawn. I have stopped being their pawn, folks, and it's time. What's the easiest way to stop being their pawn? Turn off the goddamn TV. Stop watching the programming. Stop buying everything they say as complete and accurate, because it's not. Stop buying the dead earth hologram that they're trying to sell you, that they've effectively programmed us to believe is real, which is not. And with that, the next video I do will be on corporations. We'll unpack the corporate world. My name is Ingrid Lorna, Sacred White, Blue Heron Warrior Woman. Yeah, I'm white. And coming to you from Oklahoma. May you all have a wonderful day, whoever watches this, or evening or night.